I've been free from PMO for more than 10 years now. And here's the truth. If you want to crush every single urge for good, there are 5 stages you have to go through. And I've helped more than 300 guys at this point go do it, and it's the same path every single time. Miss one stage or screw up the order, and you may be stuck in the miserable relapse cycle for years. So now I'll show you every single stage in detail so that you literally can just copy it into your own NoFap strategy. And for each stage, I'll show you the urge threat level, how reliable your willpower will be at this point, and how long most guys need to master that stage. That way, you know exactly what's coming. Stage 1, nervous system control. All right, before we do anything else, we will train the fastest skill to kill any urge in 50 minutes, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. Because if you can't survive the first wave, nothing else matters, which is why most guys fail before they even start. Because the second a big urge hits, it's almost like your brain forgets everything it knows about NoFap. And it used to happen a lot to me when I started out. All the clever techniques, the affirmations, the habits I swore that would help me, poof, just gone all of a sudden. In that moment, all you got left is your raw willpower. And that runs out fast. So I needed to find a way to cool down my head, to cool down my nervous system as fast as possible, even in the middle of a storm. And that's when I found something that even Navy SEALs use in literal life or death situations. Breathing techniques. Because by the way you breathe, you can powerfully influence your nervous system and sometimes even kill an urge within seconds. And if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're stuck in the hype, willpower, relapse and shame cycle. I've seen it hundreds of times. You hype yourself up with NoFap success stories or motivational videos on YouTube, then push through it with willpower for a couple days, then just in 1 week moment you relapse, drown in shame, and repeat. But learning just 1 or 2 breathing techniques is the fastest way to break out of this cycle. Very simply put, any form of pain, emotional, physical pain, stress, over a longer period of time, and sometimes even just a very short amount of time, overstimulate your nervous system. And then your body tries to use PMO to calm itself down again before the long-term stress starts harming your body. But certain breathing patterns very quickly also calm down your nervous system, which then clears out this need to indulge in PMO. You can just think more clearly again, and often you can stop an urge long before they become too powerful. And on that much calmer foundation that you achieve in stage 1, you can then build on and learn more complex and even more powerful techniques to calm down and crush any urges. At this stage, the urge threat level is still mid to high, your willpower is still very unreliable, and the duration for how long it takes to learn this is just a couple days though, because you just simply need to learn 1 or 2 techniques. Stage 2, mental strength training. At some point I realized porn wasn't really the problem. The real problem was me running away from my pain. And almost every guy I work with has that realization at some point. If I was stressed, felt lonely, had a fight, or even just boredom, the second I felt any form of discomfort, a very powerful escape was just clicks away. And I really tried the usual techniques. Take a walk, stay busy, remember your why, cold showers. But every time, all it took was just 1 weak moment, and I would be drowning in shame again. I needed something stronger, something that didn't just distract me or just another powerful technique. I needed something that made me stronger than the urge itself. And that's where real mental strength training changed everything for me. Because just how you can train your body in strength, endurance and mobility, you can also train your mind for focus, clarity and equanimity. And when your mental skills get stronger, urges, pain, stress, they all lose their grip on you. And when I started training like this, it felt like I could take a real breather for the first time in a long time. I could actually see what was happening in real time in my mind, in my body, and react with a clear and calm mind and stay in control. It's almost like you go from being ambushed all the time to being able to spot the enemy like far in the distance already. And when you see the urge from early on, you decide how the fight takes place, not the urge. And the best part, the same skills that make your mind bulletproof against urges also make just life in general a lot easier. Relationships, work, even just your everyday mood just levels up. Actually very similar to how endurance and strength training just makes everyday life easier as well. At this stage, the urge threat level is still kind of mid to high, but you do start noticing that there is a difference and that there like a deep shift has taken place. Your willpower also kind of unreliable, but as the same thing, it gets better and you notice something has shifted deep within you. And from now on, it's only gonna get a lot stronger for you. And the duration that I often see at this stage for guys is usually roughly around 2 to 3 weeks before they start seeing real changes. Stage 3, find your real why. I'm very sure in the NoFap community you have heard very often, find your why, remember your why. But here's the problem. When you start out, your mind is very noisy, full of shame, pain, distractions and confusion. So your why is often very weak and not really grounded, not really rooted in your identity. And very often it's basically just, I don't want to feel this pain anymore. But a few clean days in, your pain starts to fade and so does your why all of a sudden. Suddenly, the thing that was supposed to save you is gone. You don't have this same energy that's driving you anymore. So you relapse again. Or what I also see a lot is that social media makes you chase fake whys. That is not truly yours. So it doesn't give you real strength. So in order to find your real why, you first need a much calmer and much clearer mind. So you can connect with what is really personal to you and really powerful to you. And before I found my own why, which can change over the years, slowly but steadily, I was like a leaf in the wind, just going wherever dopamine would take me. But once I had my why really locked in, I stopped drifting. And also I stopped being nihilistic and every day had way more meaning. And I felt like I was finally walking my own path. And it takes time and it takes work to really find your why. But let me show you just 2 simple techniques how you can get the ball rolling at least. Because one of the most just straightforward ways is literally just turning your pain around. Just think about it. Why do you feel hungry? So that you go out and hunt or find something to eat. And the same is true for loneliness. It hurts, so you go out and start connecting with people, even if you're scared of it. So if you dare to sit with your pain, to be with your pain and look it straight into the face with a clear mind, you can basically reverse engineer it and the message becomes very clear to you. Another way to start sculpting and finding your why is to bring your mind into order. What I mean by that is that you find out what you truly value in life. And it doesn't have to be so complicated. It literally can just be like asking yourself a bunch of questions and write it down and really think about it. You're gonna feel what is true for you. And 5 questions that really force you to think about what you value is how you spend your time. The first question could be, let's imagine you have 1,000 years to live. What would you do with your life? Then what would you do if you had 10 years, 3 years, 6 months, 1 week, 1 day even? It forces you to think about what you would throw away and what you would need to keep in. There are way more ways to really discovering what your why is, but those 2 are a very powerful start. At this stage, even mid-level urges become a lot more easy to handle now. The training kicks in, your why becomes stronger, and mid-urges, sometimes even strong urges, just vanish. But obviously there are still those very powerful urges. Also, there are still weak moments in your life. So like high intensity urges can still be a threat. Also, your willpower becomes way more reliable. And the cool thing is, depending on how much you write and depending on how much you really dig deep, it can take just a couple days. Maybe on average, it takes the guys a week to go through this stage. And now we come to a really interesting stage. Stage 4, discipline comes naturally. Because of stage 4, I mentioned in the beginning that it is dangerous to screw up the order of the stages, because only now do we really start building a discipline, which is what you probably have tried starting out with from the get-go. But it just doesn't work to try forcing discipline on a mind that hasn't been trained yet. And then not being disciplined just crushes your self-respect over and over and over again and actually makes you weaker. It's exhausting and eventually you give up. But once your mind is clear, calm, way more focused, and your purpose, you feel your purpose strongly in your chest, discipline happens almost automatically. It's natural now. You want to do the hard work. It's not forced anymore. Yes, of course, you'll have off days, we all do, but you bounce back really fast. It doesn't take weeks or months even to get back on track again. So in stage 4, now you start taking your mind to the next level. You will find out how discipline really works. Basically, you hack your brain, you hack your mind to lock in on discipline whenever you want to. And it's usually a very short but very powerful stage the guys go through. Yes, your why is being built over your entire lifetime and it changes slowly. And it's always good to remind yourself and sculpt it even more clearly so that the benefits of learning this stay with you for the rest of your life. By the way, I will go into a lot more detail with all of this on this channel. So if you like to learn how to level up your mental strength, subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell. Okay, at this stage, things really start shifting. Your urge threat level is that very intense urges are still possible, but you really start seeing how they become manageable. And often you do handle them in a very powerful and healthy way at the same time that doesn't exhaust you anymore. Your willpower becomes way more reliable and the duration isn't even that long, roughly 1 week usually. But my favorite stage is the next one, stage 5, mastering urges. Up until now, we have trained your mind to become stronger and stronger and stronger. And in this stage now, you will really learn in real life how to use it, how to powerfully use your mind so that urges are not a threat anymore. You crush them. And it is the most controversial stage, but it works. Because if you really look at what's happening in the present moment with addiction, it's a very strong compulsion. A feeling that is so strong you don't know how to handle it. You get overwhelmed. It seems like it demands that you act on it, or something horrible is going to happen. Like it's unthinkable what will happen otherwise. And what is so controversial about this stage is that now you start training directly with your compulsions, because only then can you really learn to master them. You learn to skillfully go directly into your urges, your pain, your discomfort, so that they stop controlling you, instead of just finding better ways to distract yourself. And think of daily small urges that you can use, like weights that you train your mind with, checking your phone when bored, eating junk food, doom scrolling instead of working or studying, just watching one more episode or playing one more round. Each one of those moments is a chance to train, is an opportunity to get stronger and level up your mental strength. And when you train with those smaller daily urges and become stronger and stronger and stronger, and I can't stress this enough, even the most powerful urge you can think of will feel easy for you. It's easy all of a sudden to put those urges aside and not be bothered by it anymore. Because you will learn to feel through an urge fully and completely without acting on it and still getting relief, meaning you suddenly can fully face the urge, fully feel it, and you don't have to run away from it anymore. You don't have to distract yourself anymore. And then it just vanishes without leaving a trace, without leaving this nagging sense of dissatisfaction in the back of your mind. In my experience, it is the only way to truly beat urges for years or decades even. This is where your mind stops flinching when an urge arises. You see it, you feel it, you let it burn out. And you are still in control. That is real freedom. And with enough training, even a 15 out of 10 intensity urge, the kind that completely disorients your mind and every nerve in your body screams for relief, won't break you anymore. And the best part, you do not need to worry anymore that maybe you're going to have a weak moment, because you have shown yourself over and over and over again that you are strong enough in every situation. And the baseline of your mental strength is strong enough at some point so that no urge can touch you anymore. At some point, you don't even need to hype yourself up anymore. You just let the urge burn itself out and you're good. So at this stage, the urge threat level changes completely. Even the strongest urges become powerless against you. Your willpower at this point will be basically unshakable, but obviously we are all still humans, we are imperfect, but you're in a different league basically. In this one, the duration is longer because you really need to understand, you really need to train. And on average, I see that it takes guys roughly 4 weeks until they start really getting it. And obviously, just like physical training in the gym, mental strength training is ongoing training. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you take this at a normal pace, it will roughly take you 10 weeks. And at the end of those 10 weeks, your mind will be on a completely different level. And especially when it comes to urges, you'll be stronger than 99% of people. And overall, your productivity, your focus will increase, your suffering will decrease, and you just level up in all kinds of areas in your life. So all I can tell you is this: training my mental strength changed my life completely. And to this day, it's the most valuable skill I've ever learned in my life. And I know it's going to change your life as well. And I have one last question for you. How do you improve your life the fastest and make sure that you stick with it for real this time? The answer is by joining a team of highly driven people. Think about it for a moment. If you join the best basketball team in the world, even if you're not made for basketball, you would be better than anybody you know in a very short amount of time. But if you join a group of guys that just play together for fun sometimes, you will also improve, but not nearly as fast, and you will never get that far. So if you start training now, 10 weeks from now, you will look back and maybe even barely recognize yourself. Much calmer, way stronger, more in control. And you can get a free taste of that in my free group, and the link is below. Do not wait for yet another relapse to remind you of why you need this. In the free group, you get a ton of free tools, free training, and you can ask me any question you like because I'm in there all the time. Train your mind and become stronger.